Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Welcome to Earth Live. And do you think I'm on? No, I'm going to wait until 5 o'clock or 10 o'clock there in the UK. It's really awesome. I see that some people are logged on already and getting some questions. So hi, welcome to Earth Live. I'm Sally Snow, and I'm going to be talking to you about the whale shark, the largest fish in the sea. And we're just going to wait a minute for some people to connect. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself in the meantime. So I'm originally from Pembrokeshire in West Wales in the UK, but I spend most of my time in the amazing country of the Philippines. So I'm just going to share this with you guys. We're going non-technical today, so taking it back to photographs and props. This is one of our field sites in the Philippines. I am not here right now. I'm actually in Dumaguete City, and we are in quarantine lockdown like many other people across the world during this time. I want to say a big thank you to Lizzie for setting this up. And so I'm originally from Pembrokeshire, but spent time in the Philippines, and I work for an organization, a non-government organization called LAMAVE, or our long name is the Large Marine Vertebrate Research Institute Philippines, and this is us. We're going to tell you how you can find out more about us later. But this organization, we're dedicated to the protection of marine megafauna. So we do conservation and research with whale sharks, manta rays, turtles, and other big animals like dolphins and sharks. But today I'm going to tell you about the whale shark, which is what brought me to the Philippines in the first place, because they're not found all around the world, but they are found here. And the Philippines is a very special place to see whale sharks. And my talk is about the mysteries surrounding the whale shark, because there's a lot we don't know about this animal. Even though it's so big, it's actually quite elusive, and there's a lot of mysteries that surround the whale shark. So when there's a mystery, there's always some stuff that we know. So what do we know about this animal? Well, as I mentioned earlier, they're the largest fish in the sea, and they can reach sizes up to 20 meters. So the largest recorded shark is actually 19.6 meters. And to give you an idea of how big that is, if you think of 2 London buses or 2.5 GPs here in the Philippines, that's the size of 19.2 meters pretty much. So there's a really, really big animal, and they can weigh up to 20 tons. Luckily, because they swim in the water, they can have this weight because the water helps support them. And being such a big animal, we think that they live for a really long time, so around 100 to 150 years old. There was a recent article, some of you might have seen it, that some scientists in Taiwan and Australia were looking at how they could age a whale shark from their cartilage. So this is like their skeleton, and they were doing this in a really cool way. But the whale sharks that we see, we don't tend to see the really big ones. And one of the things with whale sharks is they're not actually sexually mature until they're 25 or 30 years old. So this means that they can't have babies and they can't reproduce until they've survived 30 years in our oceans. So this is one of the threats for the animal. Because if you have to wait that long, you want to make sure that you make it through to get the next generation. Now then, where can you find them? If you imagine the globe and the center strip of the globe, then this is your warm, temperate and tropical waters. And that's where whale sharks can live. So we have them here in the Philippines, they're in Mexico, in the Maldives, in the Seychelles, in Mozambique, Australia. We don't have them in the UK, but we do have a friend of the whale shark, which is the basking shark. It's a very similar shark. It's actually the second largest one in the world. And it's kind of like the cold water whale shark. So we do have a cool shark there in the UK as well. Now, these animals are super cool because they can dive up to depth of 200 meters. 2,000, sorry, I keep getting that one wrong. And even though they're so big, they actually eat really tiny animals. Now, this is not to scale, but this is one of their main foods. So this is zooplankton, and these are tiny, tiny, microscopic little animals that live in the ocean. And the whale shark eats millions of these. But they don't just eat zooplankton, they also eat crab eggs, they eat miniature fish, they eat krill, but they eat very small animals, and they do this through filter feeding. So they suck in water that's rich in these little animals. And they have like these sieves in their mouths, which are part of their gills. So they push the water out, and then they swallow the food. So one of the problems for whale sharks is if there's plastic in the ocean, they can actually end up swallowing the plastic, especially microplastics. And then the last thing I'm going to tell you, the fact that we know about whale sharks, is they're oviviviparous. And this basically means that they give birth to live young. So they have, just like us females in the human race, we have eggs that develop inside the body and give birth to a live baby. Whale sharks do exactly the same thing. They have eggs that develop in the females, and they give birth to baby little whale sharks. So some sharks actually lay egg cases, which we call them in the UK mermaid purses, and you may have found these sometimes on the beach if you're lucky. But whale sharks don't do this. They actually give birth to miniature little sharks. Now then, so that's what we know about the whale shark, but what don't we know? Or how can scientists even begin to understand what the whale shark is? Like, how many are there? Where are they? Well, there's some really cool things, because to tell how many there are, we can actually use their spot pattern to identify them. And just like our fingerprints, so my fingerprint is different to your fingerprint, the spot pattern on a whale shark is different to another whale shark spot pattern. So scientists have been using this to take photographs of the whale shark. They can actually look at two different whale sharks and work out if it's the same one or a different one. And this can tell us two things. So one is that it can tell us how many whale sharks there are in one area, so if you have different pictures. But it can also tell us if a whale shark is photographed in one place, like the Philippines, and photographed in another place, like Taiwan. And we actually had this before in 2013, where our team, actually I identified the shark, and somebody in Taiwan had also, Shu, one of our colleagues and friends, also had identified a shark in Taiwan, and it turned out to be the same one. And this was phenomenal, because it was one of the first photographic matches of whale sharks moving between countries in Southeast Asia. So one of the cool things is you can actually contribute. If you happen to see a whale shark, it would be very difficult in the UK, but maybe if you're on holiday, but you can take photographs. If you have them, you can actually submit them to an online library called whaleshark.org. And this is a really cool platform that collects loads of photographs of whale sharks. And so far, there's been over 12,000 whale sharks identified in the world. And some of the things we've learned there is also, if there's matches, so if there's matches between Philippines and Taiwan. We've also seen matches from other countries as well. So that's really amazing place of knowing how many whale sharks there are. But this information as well of scientists taking photographs of whale sharks has also made us discover one thing as well that's really weird. So when we swim with whale sharks, we tend to be swimming with the juvenile sharks. So juvenile sharks are between 4 and 7 meters, and they are basically like the teenagers. So they're the teenagers or the young adults. So I want you to think for a minute about where you live, whether that's a village, a town, or a city. Imagine if when you're walking around, you only saw teenage people. So you didn't see mums and dads or other adults, and you didn't see any children or little babies. It would be really strange, right? So this is kind of what we have with whale sharks, because we're mainly seeing the teenagers, and everybody's asking, where are the adults and where are the babies? Now, luckily, we have found some really cool things, and it's been a little bit like a detective mystery journey, because we have to find out little pieces of the puzzle that helps us tell us more. So where are the adult whale sharks? Well, scientists in Galapagos have found that there's really, really big whale sharks out there, and they are female. So at one stage, we were starting to think, are they going there to give birth, or are they going there to mate? And because they were so big, these were really big mammals out there. And this group of scientists, they actually went and they did an ultrasound. So when somebody is pregnant, so for kids, when somebody's pregnant and they put a special machine to check to see if there's a baby inside, divers did this with a whale shark. And what they found was there were no babies. So this was a bit of a shock, because we all thought maybe there was going to be babies, but there wasn't. Turns out they were just fat, which is good, because obviously means they're eating a lot and being healthy. But it made us think again, where are these pregnant animals? So one of the challenges with whale sharks is their fish. And being a fish, they have gills. So they have gills. And that means that they take oxygen from the water, whereas us humans have to take oxygen from the air. And this makes it really difficult to study them because they can spend their time anywhere in the ocean at any depth, pretty much, within their limits. But it means for us it's very hard to find them. So when we do find adults, one of the ways that we're trying to find out more about where they're going and what they're doing is using satellite tags. So satellite tags, this is my little diagram. So this is a tag here and it's attached on a tether. So this is only one type of satellite tag, but basically when the whale shark is near the surface, it allows us to send a signal to satellite. And then we get an email saying like, your whale shark is here. And basically this is like a GPS system, so we can work out the tracks of where these sharks are going. Now then, when we do this with adult whale sharks, one of the things is like, if all the adults are going to one place, say all the adults are going to one country, then we would be like, okay, we need to go there and find out what they're doing. Because when adults come together, if they go into the same area, it means it's an important habitat for the animal. And it could be a breeding site, it could be somewhere they're giving birth, a nursery ground. But as of yet, this is still a mystery. So my team are tagging sharks, and there's a lot of other friends, scientists that are tagging sharks around the world, whale sharks around the world, and we're trying to find out where are the adults going. So that's kind of a holy grail question for us. Now then, apart from the adults, what about the babies? Now then, the babies are even more of a mystery. But one of the things which is really exciting, and one of the reasons I came to the Philippines, is 2 babies have been found here in the Philippines in the same place at the same time of year. And also one of the sharks that was found was 46 centimeters long. So this is really, really tiny when you think of the adult, which is the size of 2 buses. So imagine if I was stood next to 2 buses with this, you'd see how tiny the baby is compared to the adults. And this baby was found in 2009 by some friends of ours in the community that we work with in Donsol, Sorsogon. Actually, it's in the town next door, called Pilar. But the baby was found, and it turned out to be the smallest ever recorded whale shark in the world, which was really amazing and really kind of put the Philippines on the map as a special place for the species. Very exciting. This year, around the same time, so in March, so just before the pandemic, our team discovered with the community again, they identified another small whale shark that was 59 centimeters. And our team, Johnny, one of our project leaders, she measured this and she identified it as a male. And again, this became a really important record for tiny baby whale sharks. And both of these whale sharks are considered neonates. And neonates basically mean that they are newly born. But how do we know that? How do we know that that's newly born? Well, this is probably one of my favorite pieces of information about whale sharks. And it's to do with a whale shark nicknamed megafauna. And megafauna is a huge female that was landed in a fishing port in Taiwan. And scientists asked to open her up because she was already dead. And they looked inside and they found 304 pups. And these pups, these whale sharks, baby whale sharks, 304, all from the same father. And what was interesting is they came in different size categories. And one of these size categories matched the size of these baby whale sharks. So the one that was 46 centimeters and the one that was 59 centimeters, they matched one of the categories that was found inside the pregnant female. So we know that they were really freshly born, which means they must have come to the Philippines. They must have been born here. So thinking about this, why is the Philippines so special? It's an amazing place. We host the 2nd largest population of whale sharks in the world that is known. And we have adults and we have juveniles and we have babies. It's an incredible place. And for me and my team, we are really passionate about whale sharks because they are amazing, because they are what we call umbrella species. And umbrella species are species that when you protect them, you protect the whole ecosystem below. So if we protect an area that's important for feeding for whale sharks, it's a feeding ground, then everything everything living in that area is also protected. So the sharks, the manta rays, the turtles, the corals, and umbrella species are really charismatic. They're really beautiful. People can often identify with them, so they can help us really push protection. And that's something that our team are doing, not only with whale sharks, but with manta rays and turtles and other shark species. And for me, so I just want to share a little message. Why is it important to protect whale sharks and protect the ocean? Well, I think we can't survive without an ocean. One of the reasons I wanted to swim with a whale shark because I wanted to feel insignificant as a human being in the natural world because they're so big and such a big presence. But we need the oceans for oxygen, for food resource. And I think in a time like this, when we have a global pandemic, it's really a good time to think about nature and the balance. Like, are we treating the ecosystem as we should? Because we are part of that ecosystem. And if we start to break it down, we'll also be breaking down our future. So Sue's gonna come in. This is one of my team. She's gonna tell you how you can find out more about our team, and then I'm gonna take some questions.
Thank you, Sally. Hello, everyone. So we have a website, www.lamabe.org, and we're also in Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just type in @Lamabe Project. So after the pandemic, there are volunteer opportunities for those who are interested to do or get involved in conservations on marine turtle, whale sharks, and mangroves.
Awesome. So Sue is one of our turtle experts, and yeah, so do check us out. Bear in mind, our website has recently been under construction, and I've made it specially live for you guys for the next 4 hours. So bear with us if you see some typos or anything like that. We're still working on it, but we thought you guys might like to have access early. Some questions. So I've got one here. Are whale sharks social? Now then, people often think they are because they all come together, but they're not considered a social shark. They usually come together because of a food resource, so they all come to the same place. And they can also come together, obviously, for reproduction, but we're still not sure about that. So they're not really considered social. One of the shark species that is considered a social shark is a lemon shark, if you do want to go and find out some cool social shark science. And great whites, actually, are pretty awesome. There's another one here. What research are you currently doing? Our team, so we have a team of about 14, and we have a number of different projects across the Philippines. We are looking at manta rays, we are looking at turtles, we are looking at whale sharks. What we do with these species is we're trying to find out about the population. So we use ID, like I said, with the spot pattern and the fingerprint. The manta belly is the same, and the head of the turtle also allows us to do the same. So our team are collecting those types of data, but what we're also doing is trying to find hotspots. So manta rays, for example, they go to patches of the reef and they kind of sit there and get cleaned. So they get these little fish come and take like parasites off them, they remove dead skin. And when this happens, this is a really important part of their life stage, but these areas are really important to get protected. So we're trying to identify those and then work with governments and communities to protect them. One of my personal work, because I do a lot of communication work and filming, is I work a lot with communities about making briefing videos for tourists. So say if there's a turtle guide, we work with communities to make a briefing video so tourists know how to interact with turtles responsibly and follow guidelines, but also so they can learn the amazing biology about these animals. Sorry, I'm getting some notes here. So if you do want to follow in those social links, they are in the description below. I'm going to have a little look. Thanks for all the comments, guys. You're so cute. I'm just seeing if there's any more questions. So why do whale sharks migrate? What can we do to make sure we don't disturb their travels? That's a good one. So whale sharks make long distance movements. So this is usually because of a food or it's another type of life history problem, not problem, but life history stage. So maybe they're looking for a mate, maybe they're going to give birth. We're not quite sure where they're going to do that yet, but they do make largely these movements are for food. And we see that around the Philippines. They move between the different sites that we work in. We can avoid disturbing them. Ships can be a threat to them. So when you order stuff, I don't know if there's Amazon stuff that comes from here, but the big shipping cargoes, they can kill whale sharks because they can get hit. Boat propellers, unregulated tourism, so tourism without guidelines, where everything's frantic, that's always a really bad one. So how best to do something about that is be a responsible tourist, ask about local guidelines, ask your local tour guide. Does it look like the tourism benefits the community? Is there safeguard things to protect the animal? If there is, then this is good tourism. If there's not, and it looks like chaos, if animals are being fed or kept in a disturbing way, then it's not good. Guys, I think I have 1 minute left, so let's see if I can get anything else in. Oh, so there's one here. How can you help with whale sharks directly or indirectly? There's different ways you can do this. You can support people doing whale shark work. So you can support, for example, Lamabe. There's a lot of other amazing organizations also doing whale shark work. So you could donate to them. You could volunteer with them, because we need volunteers. Volunteers help us financially, but also on the ground collecting the data. They're a really important part of our organization. Like I said, you can choose responsible tourism, sustainable tourism. Don't go to places where whale sharks are kept in aquariums or where they're fed for tourism. Interact with them in a natural environment in a responsible way. You can also make efforts by whale sharks are still caught by bycatch from fishing industries, so being responsible about the fish or the seafood you're eating if you eat seafood. Yeah, and I think that's it, guys. It's so amazing. It's really nice to have you here. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy, and I'll try and answer more of your questions now after. I'm sweating, it's so hot here. Bye-bye.